CILICANT, India's very own homegrown brand, has in a very short span created a global foothold, delivering safe and quality active packaging material to partners worldwide. Such has been the demand for its products that CILICANT inaugurated its third and biggest manufacturing facility in Lonikand, Pune in 2020. Led by its team of 150 plus people, CILICANT is enabling healthcare, food and consumer product companies to extend the shelf life and safety of their products through a variety of solutions. From desiccant to oxygen absorbers, the manufacturer is leaving no stone unturned to provide advanced solutions to protect moisture and oxygen-sensitive products. CILICANT's new CGMP-compliant facility has upped its production capability by 3 times and backs the company's end-to-end production and distribution operations. Strategically located to meet its growing national and international demand, CILICANT is reputed for its unwavering focus on safety and quality. Every employee adheres to meticulous safety standards established in accordance with industry and regulatory best practices. CILICANT is particular about sourcing its raw materials from the best and most trusted suppliers in the world and goes a level above and beyond to ensure that all incoming materials are of supreme quality and stored with absolute protection. The company's keen eye for precision is backed by its state-of-the-art manufacturing facility that deploys the latest technology for production, machines that not only deliver the best quality but also have greater production capability. All products are manufactured in a classified clean room. Quality checks are conducted at every step of the way, from the weight of the product to the size of the packaging and quality of the processes. There are people who have been specially trained to be quality champions at the production line. And with service and long-lasting relationships at the heart of everything that they do, CILICANT's flexible manufacturing capability offers customizable solutions to clients that integrate with their own manufacturing processes. Over the years, the industry-leading active packaging provider hasn't just established itself as a go-to trusted provider, but has also demonstrated its technical and manufacturing prowess. No wonder why it is a trusted voice of experience for all its clientele. Quality assurance is a non-negotiable aspect of CILICANT's operations, and it holds a DMF with US FDA and Health Canada. At CILICANT's Quality Control Lab, people are hard at work, testing raw materials and finished products as per the current US pharmacopoeia testing standards and engages high-tech instruments for all its testing. In fact, the QC team oversees the manufacturing process and conducts checks and inspections at multiple stages. CILICANT's commitment to its clients does not end with manufacturing, but extends to distribution as well. Every individual here takes personal responsibility in maintaining the highest levels of safety and quality in the finished products. The company doesn't just manufacture products with utmost care. The products are also packaged using highly advanced technology that keeps it safe and fully protected as it transits across seas to reach a client location. Using hermetic sealers, the products are protected in an airtight condition, retaining its freshness until usage. Because no matter what, CILICANT delivers to its promise of providing safe and quality active packaging material that enhances the safety and shelf life of the client's products, in turn improving their customers' satisfaction. CILICANT, assured quality, ensured services.
welcome to this extremely special seminar that we are holding for you right now, a webinar if you must. And this is on a topic which is not only close to my heart, but also important for the world at large. Sustainable packaging, that's the one that we're talking about. It's been a priority for a lot of the companies for more than a decade now, but those numbers have been rather few. In the forthcoming decade, we expect a lot more companies to go ahead and join this movement and show more concerted efforts in investing both time as well as money in the developing of more circular packaging solutions. Moreover, the kind of new age customers that we're engaging with or speaking with, brands say that are extremely conscious of what their efforts are in making this world a better place. And in that, going forward, sustainable packaging is a good value solution for the companies as well in terms of premiumization. The leaders are creating solutions where packaging waste is either infinitely reprocessed or can enter the system as raw materials for other products as well. This is a good example of circular economy in action. This is great news, not only for environmental reasons, but like I said, business value too. So on that note, Money Control presents a roundtable, which is an emerging trends in active and sustainable packaging solutions. And this is in association with CILICANT, which is the active packaging solutions provider. And to discuss this, we've gathered for you an expert panel who are in the business and leading this space with their innovations and expertise. I am pretty excited to hear out what these guys have to say. But before all of that, let's go to our keynote speaker first. Our keynote speaker today, a die-hard lover and evangelist of packaging, recognized and awarded as well as the most influential leader in this segment. And packaging is a niche business, but extremely important because that's your first interaction with the product. So for a person to be extremely passionate about that shows he's the global ambassador of the World Packaging Organization with a strong penchant and deep knowledge for the pharmaceutical industry in particular. Also the board member for Pharmaceutical Export Promotion Council. He's the CEO and managing director of EcoBliss India, which is an internationally renowned company for its packaging innovations, has its core strengths again in the pharmaceutical space. So let's welcome Mr. Chakravarthi AVPS. Sir, we're glad to have you. Please, share your thoughts because you command admiration and deep respect in the packaging world, and everyone just wants to listen to you.
Thank you very much. Mangalam. Greetings to you all, my dear friends. Today it's a very great moment sharing my views on this great platform and for a great cause as well. At World Packaging Organization, being a board member on the executive from Asia, we proudly say better quality of life through better packaging for more people. Well, many people think packaging is an unavoidable burden. If at all we can live without packaging, things would have been much better. But okay, for the public, it looks like. But I think the deliberations and the discussions, what we are going to have for the next 1 hour, definitely unearth a lot of things and make us aware and make you all know what exactly the scene behind. My friends, today consumers are much more informed. Like Mangala was saying in his initial remarks, they are very conscious about the impact on the environment. Don't think that they expect the governments, brands, the products take the lead. And they actually allow all of us, the stakeholders, to have more balanced and sustainable life on Earth, probably from public infrastructure solution to more and more sustainable consumption chains as well. There's no coming back, my dear friends. But the opposite, the new generations are eco-friendly born already and will choose and support brands that have the same value as them. I hope all the brand managers are listening to these words. The sustainable packaging is part of a sustainable consumption. That means it's a key to explore the holistic approach from cradle to fork and cradle to cradle as a circular motion to low environmental impacts. And sustainable as a packaging can be, it requires a systematic approach, the holistic gamut of supply chain to guarantee environmental benefit from material and logistic efficiency, the product preservation, better use of solutions, of course, the post-consumer infrastructure also, and and then you need to have the policies also for the waste management. Consumer education also is important to avoid littering, which is happening all over the world. Uh, and recycling streams also to recover the material, we have to encourage them. I strongly believe the packaging industry should not promote, this is my personal views, green packaging. Rather, promote the vision, the holistic vision of a sustainable consumption chain, and with that, call every stakeholder to play its part, my dear friends. This is always my take, and the packaging industry is always evolving. I think we'll get to know more during the deliberations. I believe it's one of the industrial sector that most innovations present each year, each month, each day. It's really very dynamic industry and always undergo huge pressures, as you all know, to innovate and deliver something more and more value. And some innovations are just incremental, but we see eventually some disruptive innovations also focused on better users experience, efficiencies throughout the value chain. Of course, the printing, decoration, presentation, whatnot, you all see. But end of the day, it targets on the sustainability also. And do you know one thing? We often believe. In fact, I wrote a thesis paper on that. Packaging a tool for controlling food waste. Many people think that packaging. We are trying to avoid packaging, and this guy is talking a tool for controlling food waste. Yes, my dear friends. To me, securing global food supply chain is the biggest challenge the world is facing today. You know, one simple thing. As per the FAO is the Food and Agriculture Organization internationally. More than 30% of the food produced for human consumption is either wasted or gets lost during the entire value chain. And you know, that amounts to a whopping 1.3 billion tons. And it's, as per the estimate, it's interesting to note we can feed 870 million hungry people, even if you could save a quarter of the food that gets wasted. Can you imagine? The packaging is an underutilized solution, as per me, that can significantly reduce food waste. Packaging is never a source of waste, but it provides a means of preventing food waste, and public perception must change towards this. I always vocal on this. Improved collaboration between industry, academia, government, and with regards to waste policies, that's the need of the hour. I always believe that. The main reactions that cause food to deteriorate, as you all know, this oxidation, moisture loss, enzymatic browning, non-enzymatic browning, microbial growth. If you talk all these things, who is the factor which comes to our rescue? Nothing but the packaging. That's what we are going to talk on also. Active and intelligent smart packagings, how they really improve the efficiency of the packaging, and so the product it is being packed with that new age technologies, and eventually it's a big safeguard for the society as well. Even in the pharmaceuticals, if you see, imagine, my dear friends, we all underwent the COVID the last 2 years, the dreadful. We are still, we are trying to say to ourselves we are in the endemic stage, hopefully so. But we have seen COVID second wave and all, we really survived. Can you imagine, my dear friends? Without the contribution of the packaging, probably the loss would have been much more. The number of deaths would have been multiple. But for the availability of the first line of defense equipment, like the face masks, oximeters, and a lot of other medical devices, and then the first line of defense medicines like the early stages like azithromycin, and so on, Dolo 65, the paracetamols. They're all life saving in the initial stages. Eventually, the vaccines. So all of the areas you have the imprint of the packaging, indelible imprint of the packaging. But for the evolution of the packaging technology, all these things would not have been possible at all. To safeguard the efficacy of each drug throughout its supply chain until it reaches the patient, until the patient consumes it, the efficacy of the drug has to be drug in the sense the medicine has to be protected, and for which I think packaging is the only safeguard. Hope people start believing this, and the negativity of the packaging we can always work out on those things. Just because Electricity is dangerous. If you touch an electrical live wire, you'll get shock and you will die. Are we stopping using electricity? Similar way, the packaging also. It has enormous usages in every walk of life. In a nutshell, I can say, as he says, I live for packaging, I die for packaging. Packaging is in my DNA. Without packaging, there is no life, my dear friends. With that initial remarks, I hand over back to Mr. Mangalam to take a very meaningful discussion forward in the next few minutes. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Chakravarthi AVPS. It was extremely insightful to hear you. And more importantly, it's insightful to hear a person who's so excited about packaging. From what I understand so far, the packaging of a product usually serves three important purposes. The first one is to save the product as well as the consumer from any sort of damage. Say if it was a pointed product, packaging would soften that as the consumer held it. And if it was a fragile product, packaging would help it from breaking. The second thing is to differentiate a product from the other one, so branding, marketing. And the third one is to inform the customer. So all these things, put together ensure why packaging is so important. And like you said, about just because electricity is dangerous if you touch a wire does not mean it is bad. And that is when innovation comes into picture. And then you have companies which promote wires that don't catch fire as well. So let's take this discussion further. We do have an esteemed, assortment of panelists who are joining us. We start with Dr. Sundeep Priyadarshi, who is the General Manager, Technical, Desai AgriFoods Private Limited as well. And Desai AgriFoods, remember, is a leading fruit producer and exporter based in India. They have over 5,000 containers that they've shipped as well. From the healthcare space, we have Dr. Suresh Chandra Singh, who's the technical and operational head at PathKits Healthcare Private Limited. Remember, Suresh Chandra Singh has over 25 years of experience in R&D and operation in diagnostic, biochemistry, and even protein chemistry. And that's not all. He's associated with IIT Mumbai and with the government of India for COVID antigen development through ICMR. He's been working on TB with the BRICS countries as well. Presently, he's the head and technical operations at PathKits Private Limited, as I pointed out. And we also have, Dr. Avinash Pandey, who's the director of packaging at Moglix, which is an Asia-based e-commerce company intensively inclined towards B2B procurement of industrial supplies, and in particular, maintenance, repair, overhaul, safety, electricals, lighting, cleaning, and housekeeping. Importantly, B2B e-commerce packaging is something that the pandemic has told us that we can't live without because of the rise that we've seen in e-commerce itself. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining in. Let's start then. Circular economy, that's what we're talking about here, right? So what exactly does it really mean in terms of packaging? What are the new initiatives that you've come across? Any new methods? Let's go across, to Moglix. Mr. Pandey, can you tell us what are your thoughts with regards to circular economy, and what are the innovations that you're seeing out
there? Yeah. Hi, Mangalam. Hi, everyone. Our esteemed guests here. It's an expert team. I have the opportunity, and I thank everyone for providing Moglix the opportunity to be a part of this very important discussion, which is now gaining momentum as we move from decades to decades. So Moglix, as you rightly pointed out, we are trying to solve the supply chain problems within the country, and we are also spread over the world, and we are growing at a rapid pace. Packaging is something that is very dear to us. And when I came to know, in fact, what we used to think about packaging is it's just something that comes along with the product, right? But now we realize how important it is, not only for the protection of the SKU which is there, the product which is there, but also it serves as a medium to pass on the messages, whatever there, the brand, top of the mind recall for a lot of things are based on what is the packaging that they do. With regards to circular economy, I believe with people realizing the importance of global warming and how we need to mitigate that, we cannot work on a use and throw model, which we used to do for quite a long time. Now, everything needs to be recycled as much as possible. We can't define life of products based over a particular usage or any particular time period. Now what we used to think as a waste is supposed to be consumed as a raw material for the next cycle. And
Yeah.
this not only adds value to opens up other opportunities. Let's say there are a lot of companies which are coming up, a lot of entities which are coming up in helping the globe mitigate or trying to eliminate the dangers or the challenges that is born out of the fact that we throw a lot of things instead of trying to utilize them. So reuse, reuse, recycle, recover. That is something that has gained momentum, gained traction, and it has caught attention of everyone. And the point which was spoken about the new age consumers, I understand that there. In fact, I have seen posts on LinkedIn where people have tagged B2C, especially owners, that we would want a packaging solution which is more sustainable. We don't want to use this particular type of thing. It is adding up to my household waste or garbage or anything of that sort. I think one of the things that has that in fact there are a couple of things which are gaining traction again are the usage of sustainable packaging and even returnable packaging. So that I believe will help us in recycling and trying to optimize the production and consumption. So the idea is to do more with less, and I believe we are on the right track now that a lot of people are aware of it. And if we are not, it is our responsibility as leaders of the teams or leaders of the business world. We are well aware of the dangers what might happen because everything is connected today. One thing affects the other. We cannot work in silos and things that think that what we are doing is not going to have adverse effects. So we need to work around, find solutions, put more time, more effort in the R&D. A lot of things are happening. I believe this is going to be discussed in the space that we are in right now, and circular packaging or circular economy for that matter is the way to go.
Right, we take that point, and I'll come back to you in just a bit. But Mr. Chakravarthi AVPS, you are extremely passionate about packaging, and let me just take forward the point of sustainable packaging. How much does it cost for a company to actually, make their packaging sustainable? Because that's important. Over the last 1 year or so, we've seen almost a 60-70% rise in the cost of packaging products itself, HDPE, corrugated boxes, whatever it be. And from there, to make it sustainable as well, there could be a bit of a premium that companies will have to pay, right?
Not really always. You need to
Mhm.
work holistically on the packaging design itself. I strongly believe you need to have a packaging audit inside you within your own company. What all kinds of packaging you are using for your products? How long you have been using? Have you ever implemented the evolutions of the packaging technology in the recent past? And are you working continuously in line with your vendors and all the stakeholders? And then how consumer wants, what is the consumer demand? Before that, what is the product demands now? What was the product demanding a decade ago and what is the same product is demanding now? There is a sea change. One has to really go through this. It's not so easy to say that okay, all sustainable packagings are expensive than the traditional packaging. Sometimes yes, many times yes, but at the same time, let's not forget the fact that they are giving a huge value to you. It's not just sustainable packaging, as I was telling you. It's green packaging, just replace the plastics by paper. It's not exactly like that. Some cases, maybe yes, but it's not always. Today, we are talking about the active and intelligent packagings. Some coatings which have been developed worldwide, probably silicon also one of them. In fact, the technology has so much evolved. Earlier, it was confined to a little moisture barrier coating or something like that, which can serve you to act as packaging for ready to serve foods and for the street vendors or so. It's no longer like that. Earlier, we used to have a layer of plastic along the paper. Now it is completely replaced by the specialty coatings, which actually get recycled along with the paper. You don't need to separate that plastic layer. You don't have the layer at all because of this advanced coatings, which you can call active packaging solutions or whatsoever. And this will really raises the hope for a better packaging for a better environment also. And and I think probably we can take this discussion forward how active and intelligent packaging really helps us. How sustainable packaging doesn't mean that just simply replacing by some plastic packaging by a non-plastic packaging, but looking at the whole supply chain gamut, how the recyclability is possible. Right at the designing of your packaging, you need to keep that in mind. Is it 100% recyclable? How much of the virgin material is being used, and how much the recycled component is being used? I think globally all the corporates, even the medium MSMEs also are working on that, and we are going in the right direction. The only thing is what we are missing here is that I cannot say we are totally missing, but we are lagging behind, far behind the responsible disposal of the used material. That's the packaging. So better
Well,
littering
that sets me
practice.
up. That sets me up right for the question that I had for Dr. Suresh Chandra Singh. You're from the diagnostics industry, and out there we do have a fair amount of virgin packaging needed. How do you make an industry like that circular packaging or sustainable? Because there are a couple of factors here. One, there is a fair amount of disposal that takes place. Secondly, virgin packaging is needed for things to be safe. And third is consumer perception. Consumer perception of packaging, if it's sustainable for something which is medical, will they be okay to see which is something which is recycled? Will there be a health risk sort of perception issue out there? How do you navigate through all these things, Dr. Singh?
I will suggest some of my experience when we just started some of the part of the development of COVID antigen. So we received some of the samples from US and some Korea, and when found some false positive samples of COVID antigen, it was really surprising. So that was the matter in how, because some of the shipment was just locked due to this time variations and the protein molecules which was in shipment for this coolant in ice. So ice was already melted, and the samples, when we detected the things that we are getting the false positive the COVID antigens. So it's very important. All of you, the panel says that the important part of the packing, how it will be intact for the product development. So the next shipment we just received on the ice coolant, and we received within around 144 hours, and the product was developed because the protein always put in this coolant stage in minus stage, so that the integrity of protein and line of control will be very important. So I have already, this is the practical experience of this at the time of COVID. Apart from that, if we are making any kits like this COVID or apart from HIV or anything, so if you are transporting to the customer ends, so it's very important that the packaging plays a very important role. Unless until if there is 0.005% chances of the humidity in this control line of this protein. So we got the complaints from the customers that your product is looking the positive, this false positive and false negative. So this part of this packaging plays a very important. Like I'm talking about some of the this silica gel. See, because some of the part is just absorbed from the part of humidity. Because when we started the production of manufacturing, we maintained the humidity is around 10 to 12% and temperature is 22%. So on that basis, we have to maintain the integrity of the protein to keep it intact for the customer end. So this part is very important, that how it will play a role in this to the customer as well the quality of products. So one thing very important that at present this packaging, I think all of you have suggested that this is a very important part. But as a scientist, I'm not much more on this field for this. But as a scientist, I believe that if we will take it this packaging as a challenge, and it will portable to make the things intact for the different part of the product, because it's not just a COVID, it's for every product. Like you are going for HIV, malaria, dengue, Zika, and at present I am also the member of BRICS country for development of TB with Brazil, Russia, Indochina, Sri Lanka. So in fact, we are also planning that how we can make intact of this things, if you are making this rapid test and transferring to the customer, so how it will be intact for the customer use. So we also suggested some of the company that you make it very this portable, and how it's very easy to transportations, and also the cost. Of course, cost is very important factor. If you are going to like that, I'm just discussing, since when first kit I have prepared, I already said this kit was one antigen 325, but today government is asking for 10 rupees, 12 rupees. So cost is very important factor, and we all have to think that how we can reduce the cost, keeping in mind of quality. So my suggestion is very humble suggestions to all this, because you all are in this platform and coordinating with the global level and government of India, and apart from the international forum, since we have to pass this message that how we can make it affordable and this precise to make the things on the level of the good quality products.
Right, insightful points out there as well. So let's move it, further. Let's go to Dr. Priyadarshi, because one of the stats that I was going through, and this is Mr. Chakravarti's from opening comments as well. We understand that 4/5 of India's or the planet's 8 billion mouths are actually fed in part by imports, because there is no direct growth of that sort of food or product out there. That means that packaging will then have a tremendous role to play in the journey from farm to fork. How do you then, at your end, uh, ensure that the shelf life of all these items, fruits and vegetables, for instance, are preserved, the safety is there, the nutrition value is intact, and at the same time, the packaging is sustainable and aesthetic?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mangalam, and everybody in the panel. Just, I am basically from the agriculture field, so I can always ensure that, as Mr. Chakravarti has said, that FAO has told that 30% or even more than that is spoiled during the transition, during the transport, the product from farm to the fork. The same thing happens with all the fruits, even after so many research has taken place. Even now, we can see that even after so much of improvement in packaging and development in this in the science, still we are facing lots of issues. Now, like we are producing banana, and banana is a low cost fruit, and to pack it and export it to the other countries, the shelf life is limited, and we have lots of challenges: how to maintain the humidity, how to maintain the temperature, how to pack it in judicious manner, in the economical manner, so that it reaches to the destination in the right stage, a right quality is maintained. So we are working with so many people like CILICANT also, because to improve the shelf life and reduce the cost of packaging is very, very important, because it's a big volume. If you're exporting fruits, that to banana in particular, if compared with apple, it is okay. It's 10 times costlier than the banana. But if you're exporting banana, you are always more and more dependent upon the cost. And now, as you said, that the cost has increased a lot in last few years. So we are facing lots of challenges. Almost more than 10 rupees a kg we are paying on packaging for this banana fruits, which is the raw material cost itself is not more than 10 to 15 rupees a kg. The packaging cost is more than the raw material cost. So we are looking for a
case of the peel of the banana being a lot more expensive than the banana itself. Let me take that forward with Mr. Pandey. Mr. Pandey, e-commerce has has an important packaging has an important part to play out there, and now everyone's talking about grocery retail, quick delivery, quick commerce. All these things will eventually end up increasing the carbon footprint of the world, right? How do you make that a lot more sustainable, because these are products which will be then offered or ordered in quick frequency?
Yeah. So thanks for highlighting that. And that is one of the recent developments that has happened. It has happened very, very quickly. In fact, it has scaled up with the advent of not only quick, it's express now. So in 10 minutes, we are getting whatever you want. And personally, what I have seen is, even as a user and as a part of the entire change that has happened in the industry, uh, clients or the companies who are in this business directly, they are trying to find out. Obviously, we are partnering them, trying to work with them through our new product development or sustainable packaging challenges which are there. So a lot of companies, they probably started with plastics, one of the most versatile things I believe is invented by mankind. It is something that it is strong, it is water resistant, and we all know how important it is
But it
to
is
the
not
industry.
eco-friendly.
Yes. So people started moving to paper bags, right? So paper bags is something that a lot of companies are trying to adapt to. Then there is compostable packaging, which has been developed, but people are trying to find out ways to optimize the expenses. Obviously, prima facie, it looks like compostable packaging or paper-based packaging is more expensive than a plastic-based thing. But
Right.
one thing which strikes my mind is, it's not only just packaging that has to be thought about only in silos. Obviously, we cannot think that there are
Mm.
other aspects of the supply chain that we have to try to optimize, try to make greener. Now I've seen people using cycles, the electric vehicles as well, for delivery instead of
Yeah.
petrol or diesel based vehicles, right? Now the focus of the government on the improvement of infrastructure is such that probably the lead time from dispatch to delivery should come down. Probably in that case, the plastic usage might come down, because it is not required to support the product. To the exposure to packaging should not be for that long, right? The usage of recycled plastic has to be encouraged. The government has changed its mandates from 50 microns to 75 microns, and going forward it's probably going to be 100, 120 microns as well. So we also have to make the customers aware that obviously the virgin material looks a bit more shiny, more attractive, the branding is easier there, but that should not be the only criteria to decide what packaging is supposed to be used, right? That is
Right.
there. And probably with the usage of drones going forward in this quick commerce, it might help us save a lot of time that the delivery executives or people involved in the entire supply chain, that production to consumption time, that can come down, and that will also have a bearing on the kind of packaging which we are using.
Thanks a lot, Mishra, for joining in. We're all looking forward to listening to you.
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. So Avinash, you were saying that the lead time between production, consumption, and dispatch should reduce. But the point is that one way or the other, there would be carbon footprint on account of increased consumption. Because if packaging is reduced from one form for the product to travel faster, that would mean that the carbon footprint incurred on the product to travel would increase as well. So let's go across to Mr. Chakravarti with regards to the materials. Everyone talks about plastic being not eco-friendly, but the larger point is that plastic is not eco-friendly if more and more of it is used only once. If we reuse the same plastic for our daily consumption, there is no better product, like it was pointed out earlier as well, than plastic. And on the second hand, people are moving away from plastic to paper, but over the longer term, paper too, made by trees, etc., will not be as eco-friendly. So in a situation like this, how do you address such problems that people may have, such dichotomies that people may have?
Thank you, Mangalam. In fact, this leads to a huge discussion. I don't think the time is enough to have a detailed deliberations. Nevertheless, I will try to put it in 2-3 lines.
Hmm.
At World Packaging Organization, we believe no material is bad for the world. Every material that is invented for the mankind. But the only thing is how you are putting it to right usage, and then right disposal, and the right recycling. Paper itself, some people say the paper is very bad. Paper, we cut a lot of trees, don't use the paper, and let's not print this. It is bad for the environment. So avoid printing this email, etc., etc. We keep seeing that. But imagine many times, just like fruits and vegetables, the paper is also grown, my dear friends. Paper is grown from the special trees are grown for making paper worldwide, and the same trees are cut again, and the new plants are planted again. So that itself is a circular packaging, the paper. And coming to the plastic is one of the best inventions of mankind during this century, because it really safeguards. When we are talking about sustainable packaging, well, let's not forget about the safe packaging also. The safe packaging is the new kid on the block. There is a pressing need to avoid potential risk of chemical contamination to products packed by virtue of the packaging material, be it food and mostly in the pharmaceuticals. Also, I think the things won't really exist without the help of the proper, of course, when you said plastic, proper plastic packaging. The only thing is now internationally what has been happening around, wherever it is replaceable, the plastic packaging is replaceable, not compromising uh, the properties, the physical and chemical properties. You can always look for alternative materials. But where it is not possible, you have to see the product also is important. The product safety is important. And we have to achieve this by cooperative and collaborative efforts. So Soumyanath Mishra is there. We're all stakeholders. As I told, industry, academia, and the governments, we're all working together how we can reduce the environmental impact because of the plastics produced from the fossil fuels. And now we have a lot of plastics which are generated from the bioplastics and biodegradable plastics we call. But end of the day, I strongly believe a plastic which can be 100% recyclable, and a plastic which contains a monomaterial, so that if you have a multiple kinds of material layers in single plastic, which it becomes impossible for us to recycle. I think these are the areas to concentrate. I think enough efforts are being done on these
Right.
lines, industry and the academia also. The only
So
thing
let's talk
is,
about these. Let's talk about these efforts with Mr. Soumyanath Mishra, who's joined in as well.
Yeah.
He's of course the head packaging development at Mankind Research Center. We of course know Mankind Pharma is one of the top 5 leading pharmaceutical companies in the country. He's actually been a packaging professional for over 20 years. So he'll probably tell us a lot more about the kind of things that are taking place out there, especially in the pharmaceutical industry. Mishra, thank you so much for joining us here. When it comes to R&D for packaging, what exactly are you seeing in terms of good practices? What exactly are you seeing in terms of newer forms of packaging? And how much of that is going into making the packaging more efficient? And how much of that is going towards making it more sustainable?
Okay, that's a good question. See, it's a major issue, no doubt. It's a major issue, but so far, frankly speaking, everybody is about confused of what is the recyclable, what is biodegradable, what is the, it's a completely confused test for everybody. So if I go to the basic, back to the basic, basically three terminology has been used in the sustainable packaging. One is biodegradable, one is compostable, one is recyclable. That is the three standard basically. Today's scenario, what is people are saying, my poly bag is a recyclable, biodegradable. No poly bag so far is India has made in the biodegradable. All are compostable. The only issue is compostable plastic. It's definitely it's made by the plant-based material, but the only problem is the compostable packaging material that is not directly composed in throwing in the soil. It will not be composed. It's need a industrial composition system in engineering, industrial engineering. The problem is the Indian scenario. If we do properly, the collect the material, we municipality collect all this material, all the plastic, make the all the plastic the compostable, and collect the all the material, and we do the compostalism in the system. Definitely, plastic will not harmful for the society. Very simple on that. Number two, again I'll tell you, what Chakravarti is telling is absolutely right. Although we are telling that paper is absolutely great, but how much plant is required to all this doing all this paper activity? It's a huge consumption of the tree. So you have to take care of this. The plastic definitely is a mankind, is the innovation of the mankind. We need to work on this plastic in the proper way, so that should be sustainable. And I can tell you, if we people do properly use of the plastic, it's a blessing for the organization, blessing for the society on that. I now the question is what mankind is doing for that. I am working for the one of our product, which is number one in the market, 85% market share. I'm working in the two way. One is the compostable plastics, and one is the biodegradable plastics. Let's see what will happen, but it will take time on that because the conventional system, which is I want to make the mold, it's not so far easy for that. What example I have given you? See, you know the pregnancy kit. Pregnancy kit is made by the HSPS polystyrene. In India, definitely they throw here and there in the soil and it's because of garbage. Plus today's scenario, today, just 1 year back, the Lisa Diagnostic in US developed diagnostic kit which is made by the paper, pulp and paper. It's a recycled pulp and paper. What you do, you taste it and throw in the flask, it will be dissolved in the flask, in toilet flask.
Yeah.
Frankly speaking, I am working, mankind is working such kind of 3-4 product. It becomes sustainable and it's in the biodegradable, obvious. One more product I am working the oxy-biodegradable product. So if you see many company, many organization, many pharma company, many brand owner, many packaging people, it's continuously working on that. But it's very, very difficult to replace the plastic completely from the packaging world.
Right, we take that point. Completely difficult to replace plastic entirely. But let's go across, to Sundeep. When it comes to packaging food, a lot of it is also focused on how attractive it makes the product look. I mean, one may not necessarily want to consume a certain product, but in the way it is packaged, it makes it a lot more attractive. So, do you think people are focusing more on the aesthetics now rather than the quality of material used to ensure the safety and freshness?
Yeah, I agree with you because most of the fruits they are eaten by eyes first. Because when you go to buy the fruits, normally you look for the beauty, the cosmetics of it, not
Yeah.
not the taste. So definitely the cosmetics is very important. The packaging is very very important, and we also
just to put in a word, cosmetics are important in fruits so much that a lot of the fruit which looks brilliant might not taste as good is also selling. I have something like a dragon fruit which tastes of nothing. Sorry to say.
Not all.
It all depends upon how you are focused on that, how your dietitian tells you about which food to eat, which not to. So it all depends. But for in our case, shelf life is very very important because our destination of export is say if it is Middle East country, we can just export in 12 to 14 days by ship. But if you want to export to the European countries, the shelf life needs to increase. That's why we are working with the CILICANT and other companies like that, so that the fruits can be, while packaging, it can be taken care of all the things. Maybe the fungal growth, maybe the environment, the gas, the oxygen CO2 level, everything, the methane level, the ethylene level, all those things needs to be controlled. So we are looking for some new technologies, some nanotechnologies, like what we are thinking that probably may play a crucial role in this, which can help in controlling the fungal growth, the bacterial growth, maintain the oxygen, the air gas exchange level, all those things, so that the shelf life get increased. If the shelf life get increased, we are going to pay much more importance to the packaging, because we can cater to some other markets where we can get much better price. So my thrust is on this new technology which can help us.
Okay, new technology is where the investment should be made.
Just to add to one thing, I just to add one thing. What Sundeep is telling absolutely right. One more thing, we have to develop some nanotechnology and other things so that we can use the less packaging material and get the same or better protective or better barrier, all these things. So that's why we can contribute for the society. Even also initially we can use the 5 kg of plastic, but with the new innovative technology we can use the 2 kg of plastic. So this is another way of the contributing for the society for the sustainable packaging on that.
Yeah. All right, I take that point. Let's go across to Mr. Chandra Singh. Suresh Chandra Singh, doctor, do tell us that India produces what, 1/10 of all pharmaceuticals in the country by volume, which includes 50% of the world's vaccines, 40% of the generics sold in America, and a quarter of all the medicines which are bought in Britain. Revenues, which in 2019 were close to around $40 billion, half of them came in from exports, and that's only increased over the last couple of years. So how is the pharmaceutical industry coming up with innovative packaging solutions that match the global standards when it comes to exports of pharmaceutical products?
In fact, for your current information, we have already done, and we are sending our kits to this most of the country. In fact, if you go for site, we are the largest VTM manufacturer of India, and we have the Limca World Record, and the COVID antigen the second largest. And now we have started this export to most of the part of the world. And few days back, I have also given some of the laminates to one Dubai-based company for the development. And it's very important thing that this packaging, how it can reduce the cost of transportations, keeping in mind of these things that the cost of this as well the quality. Quality is a very important factor. So it's a good opportunity, and we are planning that how we can make this thing this more compact and more effective with the quality that will be exported to the most of the part of the world. Because I'm expecting, and I am very much positive that in coming 5 to 10 years, India is going the one of the best healthcare center for the world for the providing of these things.
And may that happen. Jai ho to
I'll
that.
try to add a couple of lines, Mangalam,
please
because
go ahead.
a very critical discussion is happening. I would like to add a line or two. India, once upon a time, was a net importer of pharmaceuticals. We are almost zero exporters few decades ago. And not long ago, we were just exporting around $7 billion worth. And now today, it's tripled in less than 10 years. It's 2021. Now we are almost $21 billion. But value-wise, it might look very less. Do you know one thing? One pill out of every 3 pills consumed in US are being produced in India. And
Right.
almost 40% of the generics the world is consuming are from India. Is it not a great matter of pride for us? In fact, unless they believe, they don't consume also. One must see that, okay, we must be exporting, but how, whether they are consuming or not, they are consuming. The world is consuming the Indian medicine. And also during the COVID period, in fact, I wanted to emphasize on this point. Along with the frontline warriors like physicians, nurses, and the host of other essential staff, we must not forget the value created during the COVID period on the pharmaceutical industry and also the packaging industry together. Without these two, I think it would not have been in this position. Take the question of Mr. Soumyanath, Mishra, or anybody, all these people. We all got affected. At that time, there was no vaccine also.
Yes.
And some of the people went almost up to the deathbeds, and they came back.
In fact, let's just go across to Mishra itself. Your thoughts quickly on the way pharmaceutical industry in India has become a torchbearer for the global pharmaceutical industry, and what is the industry doing for innovative packaging solutions?
So you are right on that. India is the pharmacy of the global. It's no doubt on that. What Chakravarthi is telling, there is no doubt on the India is the pharmacy. So every pharmaceutical company now not only concentrating on the drug product, but also equally concentrated on the packaging product. See, the cost of the packaging is significantly increasing across the globe, all these things.
Yes.
So there is no other option. You have to optimize the packaging. You have to do the optimized, innovative packaging to come down the cost. Because in the global pharmaceutical companies, they're so competitive. Everybody is fighting for this cost. So there is no doubt, and everybody is working on that. And many people, many good innovative packaging is working on the across. I know many people is working of the good of the packaging on that. And I trust, and I have a full confidence on that. Coming 5 years, the packaging scenario will be completely changed, including the global perspective of view.
All right, let's get in a few numbers then coming in on this discussion. Finally, Mr. Pandey, what exactly do you think is the size of the packaging industry in India, And how much bigger can it be, say, 3 to 5 years from now?
I'm not very sure on the exact number, but I believe packaging is one of the top 5 contributors to the Indian economy, right, in terms of GDP. And with the, let's assume the population doesn't grow at the rate at which it did till some time back. Even if the population stabilizes, let's say, the purchasing capacity of people has increased. The way availability of data and services has penetrated not only to tier 1 but to tier 2, tier 3 cities and villages, rural areas as well. People have gotten access to services which are unprecedented in the last 10 years. If you see, especially due to the internet and telecom revolution, what has happened is the awareness has increased and people are demanding things all across the country. It's not that if you are in a particular tier 1 city only, then you will be getting access to these things.
Yeah, why the country? In fact, all across the world,
yes.
we do have 200
Yes.
million millennials right
Yes,
now in the
yes.
country itself, and they are the ones who are most aware of packaging. Go ahead.
Exactly. And the per capita consumption of products or services is going to increase. And packaging obviously will see a correlated growth unless and until we are able to provide solutions like, let's say, returnable packaging. A lot of e-commerce companies, I won't name them, but they have offered people that take these products, take this delivery, return the bag to us. RD will come, he will deliver and take this product back. This is something of a circular economy, as we started the discussion about, and I believe that is one of the ways to go forward. But having said that, it is also a function of how much we are able to educate the consumers. I believe, and I believe a lot of people might be on the same page, that packaging is a medium, right? It's something that augments the freshness or the longevity or the safety of the products which are consumed, right? It cannot be only left to packaging to solve the problems which are caused by packaging, supposedly, right?
Yes.
So let's say the products like Silicone, the companies like Silicone, then the actions, activities, policies, the EPRs which are going to get in place, they are supposed to get stronger. So extended product responsibility has to be something that has to be executed in a strict manner. People should own end-to-end life cycle of the product that they are putting into the system. And let's talk about the garbage collection system that we have. It is mostly left to the government agencies. I think there is a lot of potential for the private sector to partner with the government and try to solve these problems the way private sector has stood up in across sectors. Most of the problems that we used to face have been solved with the PPP model, right?
Yeah, we take that point. In fact, you made that point.
Mangalam, I wish to add a line here on the question what you asked about the quantum of the packaging industry. Well, I can say packaging is the unsung hero. I've been telling about it. And globally, it's more than what it's already reached 1 trillion. I think organized sector is $1 trillion industry. And if you ask me about India, of course, we don't have, nobody has correct statistics, but I can give a ballpark figure of 50 to $60 billion industry a year, only in the organized sector. But we won't stop there. It's the direct volume of the packaging. But we really consider the footprint of packaging is there in every walk of life, every industry. It is contributing to the economy growth. It is contributing to the GDP of any country by being a catalyst in any product you name. So that's the packaging.
Yeah, I will take that point further and I will try to back calculate the numbers that you're talking about. Say, assuming that India's $3 trillion GDP, a third of that is organized, the rest is unorganized. So that leaves you with $1 trillion. And packaging as a percentage of overall cost of producing a product would be anywhere between 5 to 10 odd percent. So it gives you an industry size of anywhere between 50 to $100 billion. Maybe a little lower, but back of the envelope calculations do tell you the sort of potential that this industry can have. And also, thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us. This sets us up for the last most important question, according to me, which is you guys are all trendsetters in your industry when it comes to packaging. Even today, for many, packaging is an afterthought, like it was said, right? It has been given to a lot of other people. There is no control over the overall process of packaging. People prefer economic packaging solutions as against quality or research driven ones, because that's how the culture has been so far. So as a leader, what are your recommendations in this area? Let's let's go one by one. We start with Dr. Soumyanath Mishra. Go ahead.
Yeah. See, packaging is it's not initial. Why I'm telling packaging not only the hold of the product. The role is not a hold of the product. See, packaging is a great role. It's a research based. So packaging is an integral part of the product. It has to be remembered. Without packaging, your product is it's not completed. Nobody can make a product without packaging. See, now I'm just briefing on that. See, many institute like IIT and other IIP and other big institute, they have a research center over there. They are doing continuously research on that, how to reduce the packaging cost, how innovative packaging can be used on that, how can it help enhance the shelf life of the product, because the product characteristic have significantly changed in the pharmaceuticals. Now all the pharmaceutical products need a simple tablet and capsule. They're basically all are complex molecule. For complex molecule, you need a complex packaging on that and sensitive packaging on that. So it's a basically science and technology and other things on that. And all big institute I am the guest lecturer of Institute of Technology, Lurki. They have the MTech for the packaging. So many good people are coming on that. They are doing the continuous research on that. And government of India are providing the fund on that to doing the packaging study on that. The research paper is publishing on that. I'm very hopeful. And coming few years, 2-3 years, it should be the innovative in the all aspect of the packaging.
All right, Dr. Sundeep, Priyadarshi, your thoughts?
Yeah, I particularly in agriculture, I feel that there is a tremendous scope, and probably in next 5 to 10 years, it is going to multiply. This packaging is going to help in export of the fruits, vegetables, everything which are produced in India. Because imagine, India is one of the biggest producer of banana in the world. Almost 38% of the world product produced in India. And what we export? Hardly 1%, because of our positioning, because of our lack of handling, lack of this infrastructure, all these things. So packaging is going to...
There's a question here. 38% is produced of the world, and how much do we consume?
We consume almost all, but except the whatever we spoil. Whatever is spoiled during
What's
the
the spoilage out there? Can you tell us some more details there? Because
almost 35 to 40%. 35 to 40% is spoiled during the transport only, and not the right time harvesting and all those things, and not the right packaging. That's what I was telling. I was talking about this self-life improvement. If those technology, this particular nanotechnology can come into it, and if we can export to a distant place, and where we can face better price, we are hardly at 1% export of banana from India in comparison to the world. So where we can export almost say 80 to 90%, like Philippines, they are exporting 95% of their banana produced, and what we are exporting is only hardly 1%. Just the tremendous scope is there, and there's a huge demand because ours is a tropical, subtropical country, and our climate is so much suitable for the growth of the agriculture, growth of the fruits. So we can feed the whole world, rather. So unless packaging and everything comes into the help, and we can definitely do it.
I take your point, but just one follow up, and allow me raising a curious mind out here. Philippines, you said 95% of their produce is exported. Is that because their own domestic consumption story isn't as strong? And in India, if we're producing 38% of the world's bananas, 40% is going wasted. That is the only opportunity that we have, because we do have a strong domestic consumption as well. It's not that Filipino bananas are any better than India in terms of quality. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. Because Filipino banana is better quality means because of the climatic conditions. But in our conditions, they produce round the year, and we produce seasonally. So our produce is seasonal. So we have to move all around the states, because like in winter we went to south, and in summer we comes to north for harvesting our banana fruits. So our climate is different. We can feed the world all around the year, and our keeping quality is much better compared to Filipinos. But still, we are not aware of exporting the fruits. Recently,
Are they
we
doing
started.
anything different in packaging than us? Should we think about that as well?
Almost 35 to 40% is spoiled during the transport only, Yeah, definitely. Packaging
What are
will
they
be a
doing?
great role. Now, even the domestic market, they are asking us to give us in the packed boxes, even the
No, no.
bananas.
What are the developed countries doing in packaging different from what India is doing, and how can we take that right now and increase our exports or increase the shelf life already by virtue of just taking that technology that those guys are using already?
Yeah, that's what I was telling, because our positioning is something different compared to Ecuador or Costa Rica, where they can feed easily to the European countries. And Philippines is closer to Japan and China. They can
Okay.
export their fruits to Japan and China. But our position is different, and our this distance to the European countries is much more. So we need a different technology by which we can increase the shelf life of the foods and better packaging compared to them. So if we can develop this particular new technology which can increase the shelf life, we can we can compete with them in the European market as well,
All
and
right,
we can
that's
definitely pay more prices for the
good.
packaging.
Great points made out there, and I learned a lot about this industry and the potential that it has only by virtue of changing some sort of packaging. But let's go across to Dr. Suresh Chandra Singh as well. Dr. Singh, diagnostic kits I don't think require any sort of shelf life protection or banana like fragility, but tell us a little more in terms of what are you guys doing to ensure that packaging is a lot better and more research driven, given that you guys are the leaders.
Mangalam, I agree with all the panel's view, and really it is very much appreciated. Three things I would like to say for the
Yes.
diagnostic PQ: this product, packaging, and price. This is a very important factor for three things. So, any product, diagnostic product, is reproducible, and shelf life is also very important in all the diagnostic product. And for your kind information, that one of the part, a very small part of the packaging, like this silica gel, is play a very important role for this product packaging and the sensitivity. So
Yes.
diagnostic product is very important, calculated on the basis of sensitivity and specificity. If the sensitivity and specificity of the diagnostic product is good, or more than 95% or 100%, so it is a good diagnostic product. So packaging is very important role, and I think from this channel I would like to suggest all this team, as well as from on behalf of the government of India, request to we have to think a very important that how can this increase the shelf life. Like I was listening about the banana. Last year, one of the scientists, the head of BRC, Dr. Gautam Satyendra, he has developed a technology that how the shelf life of lychee can be increased. And Israel, they have some of technology developing bars, and they have developed the life cycle and lifespan of sensitivity of lychee to increase the more useful and the natural lychee. So I think we have to think that the packaging is very important, and the future of packaging is very important to think that how we can make it feasible and sustainable, as well as this cost effective. Very important, because India is a country of populations, so the cost is also a very important factor.
Right. We've heard from Dr. Mishra, Dr. Priyadarshi, Dr. Suresh Chandra Singh, Avinash. Your thoughts, additional thoughts over and above the fact that all companies must be involved in every aspect of the product design to delivery to actually make it much better and more comprehensive. What are your final thoughts here?
Sure. So I assume packaging it can serve, it has already done, but I believe it's got a lot of role to play as an economy multiplier, right? Let's say if we are able to improve our exports of bananas, obviously it is going to benefit the people who are the consumers, because their supply is increasing, and the people who are producing, working hard here to produce them, they will get a fair share of their efforts, number one. The second thing is at Moglix, and I believe this is something that we have been doing for quite some time. Uh, the most important part of execution is planning. It starts with the conception phase, right?
Yes.
So we need to make collaborative and concerted efforts to understand or to basically prioritize what is it that we are trying to solve. We work with a lot of companies. We have our own NPD, new product development team. A lot of people from IITs and IIPs are there. So we are already working on the R&D, and we have provided solutions to our clients, to our partners. And again, I'd like to reiterate that we need to work in a more concerted and collaborative manner. It's that if you are able to plan well and your objective is clear, then probably we'll be able to reach the desired target as planned, right? That is something that I'd like to highlight, that stakeholders, all of them from start to the beginning, need to work together to solve this problem.
We take that point, and all the points that have been made so far are so well taken. One, the complete involvement of people into thinking about packaging as an economy multiplier. The headline that stayed with me was the one that came from Mr Chakravarthi AVPS, saying that packaging is the unsung hero, and globally it's a $1 trillion industry. And also the fact that we can actually increase a lot of our exports and economy improvement, like was said, in terms of agri products too. So final thoughts then we'll give to our keynote speaker as well, Mr. Chakravarthi AVPS. Glad to have you. Give us your final thoughts, sum and substance of this discussion that we've had, and on the packaging industry, the way forward.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear Mangalam. And I'm very glad we had a very meaningful and very productive discussions during the past 1 hour. In fact, there is nothing to get disheartened, my dear friends. Do you know, we are on the threshold of achieving the record, the dream of $410 billion turnover exports this year. And in the coming years, it will be much more. And which we never thought of. Reaching 300 itself was a big dream, like kind of a thing. And here in this, the pharmaceuticals, the foods, and other sector, leave about the jewelry, gems, automobile, and so many other things. But they all play a vital role. And the packaging, deliberately, it is a catalyst. It is there everywhere. And evolution of the packaging techniques, they are coming by the day, every day. As I was telling you telling you all in the beginning, we need to have a holistic approach. We should not take the decisions in hasty. We should not take decisions of deciding a packaging just by seeing the competition, but just by thinking it triggers the pulse of the consumers in a short period, but not looking at the long period. So this is what essential. We need to have a holistic alignment, which a lot of production houses are doing with the academy, industry, and the government. And we need to really work out and look at it. Today's packaging really helped to grow the businesses, to sustain the businesses, be it pharmaceutical or food. Food also, let's not just go after bananas alone. We know we are 1/3. Globally, we are 1/3 of seafood, the fish and the seafood. And we are able to export to multiple countries, inclusive of European and American, where stringent import regulations are there, thanks to the packaging evolutions. We need to look how environmental friendly we can make. And what I suggest, we need to look around. And we should not put a full stop that, okay, this only the technology is available. You need to really explore the possibilities. There are enough packaging technologies are available. Can you believe the conventional namkeens, conventional sweets and all, once in our childhood, they used to have a shelf life of just 10 days or 15 days. Now we are exporting in a proper modified atmosphere packaging or a silicone absorbent, the moisture absorbent packagings to US and other countries, and their shelf life is around 6 months. Conventional sweets, which we never thought of. And the milk, we never thought the milk has to be refrigerated if you want a longer shelf life. Now you have a milk, you can store it in ambient temperature, and the milk is still intact for 6 months. So these are all the packaging evolutions took place. Similarly, in the vaccine, similarly in the protection of the efficacy of all the drugs, we have a lot of technologies improvements over the past decade or so, and it is constantly evaluating also. One needs to have a holistic view. We need to look around. We need to work with your vendors. We need to work with the academy, and then look what is best for. Ultimately, the packaging consumer, what they are looking for, the product quality and the efficiency of the packaging, right, and the convenience. And what you need is the clear, transparent communication, which packaging gives. So this you have to focus. And the cost effectiveness, of course, will come. End of the day, it will be a pleasure to people who use the product with all the goodness into that. So packaging is the tool for making or breaking your product in the market.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Chakravarthi AVPS, for joining in and giving us those thoughts. In fact, on that note, we'll thank Mr. Soumyanath, Dr. Soumyanath Mishra, Dr. Sandeep Priyadarshi, Dr. Suresh Chandra Singh, and Mr. Avinash Pandey as well. Let's just not look at packaging as an outer covering, but something that may touch the innards of customers as well. With that, we will wrap up this enlightening discussion on the topic of emerging trends and active sustainable packaging solutions. This was brought to you by Money Control in association with CILICANT, the active packaging solutions provider. We hope our viewers found this webinar enriching, as it was packed, pun unintended, with insights that were shared by all our esteemed panelists here. It would be safe to conclude that, active and sustainable packaging cannot be an afterthought or optional or secondary in the entire supply chain ecosystem. Most companies are thankfully now realizing this and giving packaging its due by putting their best research and resources into it as well. And that's paying some rewards as well. But there is still a large chunk out there who need to pull up their socks, stop pondering, and start packaging the smart and sustainable way today. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you and good night.